What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy from Intelligence, and today I have something special for you. Now, computers are something that are easier to learn about in pieces, so that over time you pick up a little bit here and there, and you can start to accumulate enough knowledge to make some smart decisions that will save you a lot of money. For this reason, instead of just giving you a parts list for a computer, we want to help you assemble your own parts list, so that as time goes on, and as new parts are released, you have the knowledge and the tools to replicate smart decisions you made in the past. To solve the problem, let's first identify a problem and set a goal. The problem is we want a computer that has enough beef to run games, but we are on a really tight budget. The goal is to build a computer that we can use to knock our PS3 or Xbox 360 to the curb for around $300. On this budget, we will not be building an amazing system, but what it will do is equal the gaming performance of the PS3 and Xbox 360 while still being a personal computer on the side. This is the most important part. PS3s and Xbox 360s are, at the very core, computers, as you probably already know, and they are the most popular gaming solutions because they are built specifically for gaming, while remaining cost efficient. How do they do that? They allocate the most money to the most relevant components. For gaming, your most important component is the graphics card. Your graphics can either be integrated or discrete. Integrated means that the processor is handling all of the computer's operations, while alongside of that creating the video for display. Discrete means that there is another component on the motherboard creating the video, which means the processor only has to supply instructions to the component, allowing for much better performance from both parts. There are also APUs, which combine a processor and a graphics card and provide console-level gaming performance for a very competitive price. And one of the example PCs we configured contains an APU, which I'll get to in just a minute. The main thing to take away from this is that for a cheap gaming build, you want to put the most money into a graphics card and get the cheapest functional options for the rest of the components. If you are new to PC building, I recommend PCPartPicker.com. Link is down in the description. Registration is completely free and they feature almost all available computer components from a number of different websites. My favorite part is the compatibility filter, which will make sure that all parts will get along with each other. For my first example, I used an AMD APU, which is a processor that comes with graphics. I went with 4 GB of RAM, which is plenty for gaming. Another misconception is that computer performance is determined by RAM. More RAM means better multitasking, not better performance, though for gaming you should have at the very minimum 2 GB of RAM. We were able to get a 500 GB hard drive, a cheap case, and a fair priced power supply. Another tip, do not go too cheap on power supply units. A power supply failure can sometimes ruin other components, so make sure you read reviews before purchasing a power supply. It can and will save you money if you maintain your components properly. Finally, we had a cheap disk drive and our operating system, which is Windows 7, which is the cheapest and will do everything you need. What's the total? The price came out to $306.42. That's very appealing for a budget build. If you want to see these parts and mess around with them yourself, the link to this build is in the description under Build Example 1. Example 2 is a little different, in that we went with discrete graphics. The performance is much better than our previous build, but it does cost an extra $30. This time we went with the generic dual-core AMD processor without integrated graphics. For our graphics, we went with the discrete video card, the Radeon HD 6570, which has enough beef to run games better than your console. We went with a 250 GB hard drive, but for $5 more, you could get a 500 GB hard drive. Are you noticing a trend here? Every extra $5 or $10 that you put towards a particular component can make a big difference if you put it in the right spot. If you start at a base of $300 and scrounge some extra money together, you can take a budget build pretty far if you take time into tweaking it and doing your homework on the best parts and deals. The rest of this build's components are pretty much the same as with our previous example, and you can find the list in the description under Build Example 2, so you can tweak it how you like. Now these are not the best configurations by any means. These are just 2 examples that meet the goal. The informed consumer saves money because the informed consumer reads reviews, does their research, and is always looking for better deals and combinations. Be the informed consumer and you will not burn a hole in your pocket. The last thing that I want to add is that your new $300 PC is completely upgradable. You'll notice that we use 2 GB of RAM in our second example. You can invest $30 at a later date and do a quick swap to improve your multitasking. If your Christmas bonus check comes in, you can throw a better graphics card in your build or a new case for better looks. My name is Tommy, and I'm from Intelligence. I hope you learned something from this video. Leave a rating before you click away, and a comment if you have questions or if you came up with a better part list. Please consider subscribing for more tech tutorials and news and cool stuff. Thanks for watching, and make the most of the rest of your day.